Welcome to Roundhill Radio. Through our conversations, we discover the holy in the ordinary, look for moments of grace and peace, and redefine what we're talking about. Talk about faith. Hey, Lillian.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Of course.
Lovely. So here in Connecticut, our weather is wild right now.
I think it's up and down the coast.
Is it up? It's everywhere. Is it everywhere?
Maybe. We'll find out.
So we unfortunately had to cancel church last week, which has meant I don't know what day it is this week.
Absolutely not.
Because the way I center my life around Sunday,
Yeah.
It's oriented. It's the whole
Completely,
day.
yeah.
So I don't know what day it is. I was like, is it Thursday?
It is Thursday.
Is it Thursday? Okay, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Oh my God.
Did I make you question yourself?
Yeah, well.
So we're all in a state of like, what is happening and who are we? And more snow
On the horizon.
So we're just, but we're here today with you guys. We're so
Stay safe.
stay
Stay
safe,
warm.
stay cozy. And today we want to talk a little bit about sort of the scripture for Sunday and just sort of as a general topic, because it got you thinking about some things.
Yeah. So
Tell me.
first off, I don't have the scripture with me.
Fine. Okay.
Second off, have we talked about lectionary on the podcast recently or
Have we
before?
talked about lectionary in the podcast? Not in specific terms.
Wonderful. I love talking about the lectionary.
Please.
So the lectionary is a 3-year rotation. Basically, a bunch of Christians all got together and they went, what if we were all preaching on the same thing every week? So you have year A, year B, and year C. And every Sunday, they'll give you a bunch of different readings, like so many.
4.
I think usually oftentimes there's a fifth.
Sometimes there's like a bonus or
Yeah.
an or.
But
the
you'll get
Vanderbilt website
your
has
you'll get your Hebrew Bible, your Psalm, your gospel reading, and your epistle or an different New Testament reading. And you are able to kind of pick what readings you would like to talk about and worship with and move forward from that. So across many different churches, if they use the Revised Common Lectionary, week to week they'll be preaching on the same thing. It's great as a preacher. I love the lectionary because it gives me a reason to delve into and spend time with scriptures that I'm not super familiar with. So something that I might not choose, but I kind of get assigned. And now I'm reading this and I'm like, oh, I have no idea what to do. But then like the deeper you get into it, the more kind of like rich that experience can become. And also because it's existed for long enough, there are a lot of resources around the lectionary.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
also other ways of doing this. I know people who use the narrative lectionary, which is different.
It's like an alternative one.
And I don't know as much about it. So
I'll
just kind of drop that there and leave that.
Yeah.
Leave that. There are other things, or people do. Last year we kind of did a year-long sermon series.
Right.
And some people do shorter sermon series, but we are using the lectionary. And so for this coming week, I made you upset because I did not choose the gospel reading.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Because it is kind to use the gospel reading.
It is kind to your organist and director of music to use the gospel reading because there are many resources out there for directors of music that suggest hymns.
Yes.
And they give a lot of hymn choices. And it's not that I use all of them ever, but it's like
it's a guiding force.
It's a guiding force, just like the lectionary is for you. You're like, great, I'm going to use that, and then just like pull up the letter behind me.
So
it's really not that dramatic. I'm fine. I'm used to serving in churches that do sermon series.
Yeah.
The church I served at previous to this one, it was an Episcopal church. So not only did we use the lectionary, we used all 4 readings.
Yeah.
So that's the other sort of end of it. And we sing the psalm. That's always a good time. It's good times.
But so the reason that I did not use the gospel reading is I really, in my aforementioned love of lectionary guiding me to different things that I normally don't get to talk about.
Right.
I love like scrolling through like, goody, yum. I go to the lectionary. There's a website that has all of these sources together, and I like scroll down and I read all of them. And oftentimes they will kind of connect to each other. So you're able to be like, oh, like this is a through line and this is a through line, and you like read them all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I typically pick one Hebrew Bible scripture and one New Testament scripture, and the New Testament scripture in the, I think it's a letter to Timothy.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Immediately
Either one of us is going to know.
My mind after.
It was about something that I find really fascinating, which was immediately after Christ died, was resurrected, and then kind of, went away. Yeah. People just started fighting.
Sure.
Instantly.
like they do.
Like they do at church.
Like they do. Ed and I like to lovingly tease the disciples for being such disasters.
Immediately.
On this podcast, we make fun of the disciples on a fairly regular basis.
I mean, aren't we all?
Yeah.
But one of the major things that happened very early is that that this letter talks about, which is why I was drawn to it, is that someone is speaking about you say you were baptized in the name of Cephas. You say you were baptized in the name of this other person. And so what this is indicating is that there were, in the early church, there were these different leaders, different church leaders who were baptizing people. And so then instead of feeling as if they were baptized Christian in the name of Christ, they were baptized Christian, but by this one person.
I see.
And so their allegiance is shifting less towards God and more towards their immediate religious leader.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
And so already in this early church, you see this splintering where Christ is less important than being like the right kind of Christian.
Right, and being in this club versus
being in this club versus that club.
Got it.
Which I think within the context of current American Christianity, especially because I know more about American Christianity and specifically Christianity within the United States than I know about global Christianities.
Sure.
But within the context of modern Christianity, within the context of the Christianity in the United States, it is such a fascinating scripture to read where even in this, like literally within the Bible still,
right,
there is this, and I think one of the parts of this scripture, he's like, I'm glad I only baptized like 2 people in my name, so no one can say that they're baptized as like from me. He's like, I'm glad that like I'm not part of this, like, oh no, like I was baptized by blah. Like it's this immediate splintering of the church, which I think has continued for the past 2,000 years.
Right.
And I just think that is such a fascinating kind of jumping off point. Absolutely.
Because I too obviously am for sure better versed in American Christianity, but the splintering also made me think of like Irish Roman Catholic and Irish Protestant, and like the actual, like in America it's a little bit more like hand slapping, and in Ireland it was big troubles. And so I think it has caused some big problems. Yeah. But thinking about American Christianity, I've had either been professionally involved with or been attending 7 different churches in my life. All 7 of those are different denominations. Yeah. Which people look at me real funny when I say that. But I will say my experience thereof is that we have more in common than we have different. Whoa. Shocking as it is, because I know every denomination has its own. We're unique. Yeah. And they like to be like, oh, so you know this. I'm like, yes. And guess what? Here's something. And I think there's fun things that make them special, and they prioritize and like different things. Flavors. Yeah. Flavors. We're all still eating ice cream.
So I'm going to give Lillian's version of the broad strokes of Christian history, church history vaguely.
Oh, nice. I'm ready.
So
I'm back for this.
It's been a while since I've taken my Christian history classes, but essentially
Sarah,
you
tell us
have,
if she's wrong.
please do not fact check me. I'm just going to say something broadly enough that, I can't be wrong.
I love it. With enough
So
confidence.
you have a lot of big schisms.
Yeah.
So you have the schisms of like East and West, Eastern Church. You have a bunch of orthodoxies. Very early on, you have the Coptic Church, which is in Egypt. You have Eastern Orthodox. And then you have kind of like that more Catholic Church. 1500s, you have the Reformation, which is that split between Catholic and Protestant. Martin Luther, big fan. Zwingli, however, ZW, I don't know how you connect those consonants.
Yeah.
And then you have the further Church of England and Catholic division.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the United States, you have, I don't know how to, because I've had like kind of classmates come in from, I went to YDS and there's a strong connection with, I had a lot of like German classmates. I don't know why that there's a connection there, but
Cool.
Trying to explain and trying to conceptualize Christianities in countries other than the United States from within the context of the United States. The United States has so many denominations. It's not even funny.
Right. And they're like the American this, the
And
American this of America, like
Yeah.
of America.
And what happens again and again is you have a church that schisms usually because of a social issue.
Yeah.
So for instance, the Catholic Church and the Church of England schismed because the king wanted to get divorced.
Right.
In the United States, a lot of these schisms happened around enslavement. And you have these schisms that happened because of queer rights and the rights to have LGBTQ plus clergy and to support those marriages.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, so I know like the difference between like the Presbyterian church schismed. And so I know friends that have kind of been affected by that, fallen on both sides. The Methodist church in the past like 5 years schismed, which was like a very large. And so you have that United Methodist and Global Methodist. Mm. And so part of these schisms are like, it is a really, really tough to be Christians in community, especially in a global community where there are still so many countries where it is illegal to be gay. Right. And so being a member of a church that allows gay clergy, but you're in a country where it's illegal to be gay, so like how do you keep people safe? Mm-hmm. It's a huge conversation, but like that is why that schism happened essentially. And so you have these like little threads that get more and more separate from each other. Mm-hmm. And then you have like non-denominational churches, and non-denominational churches become a denomination kind of their own or have their own flavor. And then you have again and again kind of people who are like, all this denomination stuff is crazy. I want to just go back to the roots of the Christian church, but then they just end up starting their own denomination that's like the Christian church. And so it's this thing that people have been doing for the past 2,000 years, mm-hmm. to the extent that like it is difficult to be in community with even the church across the street, mm-hmm. with the context of, I don't know, I think that people more and more are very scared or hesitant to talk about religion, mm-hmm. and to talk about religious beliefs. And so when you only speak about your religious beliefs with your religious community, it's hard to create those connections across people.
Sure. And there's also like a sense, in the like air quote decline of the church that we are in competition with these other communities, which is not helpful language. And you know, I think it's a rising tide raises all ships kind of situation, right?
And I think it's also the life cycle of the church has like never been straight. It's never been like a flat line.
Right.
It's always dipped, and there were periods of time where more people are going, periods of time where less people are going. And then you have the kind of like booms where you create so many churches, or the churches are so full. And then now the church is so used to schisming and it's not used to merging.
Oh, interesting.
So this is where I talk about the church that I am ordained through.
Yeah.
One of the reasons, not that I like on purpose joined the UCC.
Okay.
So I'm an ordained minister with the United Church of Christ. And Round Hill is not a UCC church, but it has happened to hire some UCC ministers.
Well, yeah.
And something that affirmed that decision as I would continue to go through the process is the UCC formed through a merger.
Oh. Not sure I knew that.
Yeah. So the UCC is a recent denomination with like older roots.
Okay.
I'm like talking off like the website. I'm just like blah, 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 blah. But it formed in 1957 after a merger of several different denominations.
Got it.
I don't tell my polity teacher, but like the historic congregation, a lot of congregational churches, I want to say like Dutch Reform, and then the Afro-Christian Church. And so I mentioned the Afro-Christian Church specifically because it was kind of left out of the story for a while. And so they're trying to, a lot of the firsts the UCC is credited with, and a lot of the justice work that the UCC is credited with is only because of that heritage that we are able to kind of like add to part of our merger.
It's important.
And so I have a strong appreciation for finding ways to merge and work together, especially in communities where there's this question of like, okay, does this small town need 5 churches? And each church only has 12 people. But because of that flavor question,
right? How
do you combine resources? Because there's also something very real about, so my fiance was raised Catholic. I was not raised Christian, but I have found my home in the UCC, and I found my home here at Round Hill. But like, she comes to church here and she's like, that was nice, but like, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like worship without the space feeling like
the liturgy
and the liturgy and that higher church feel.
Right.
It doesn't really feel like church because there's something missing. And
my in-laws.
Yeah.
My in-laws basically they think I don't work for a church. It's like not a real church.
Yeah.
According to them.
Yeah.
They're Greek Orthodox. Yeah. They're like, yeah, they keep forgetting I'm busy on Sundays, which is a different problem.
And then there are other people who I know who really, really just like love and like flourish in environments where it's like a really large congregation and they've got guitars and like worship leaders and like music and like this really, really kind of like loud dynamic thing. Whereas like when I'm in those spaces, sometimes I'm like, I just want to sit quietly somewhere. So it's one of those things where it's like
style.
Yeah, style
matters.
It does matter for a lot of people to be able to access this point within your body of like what makes me feel simultaneously comfortable and also willing to be pushed and willing to be guided. But when that style gets in the way and becomes more important than actually seeking God and following God, which I think in many ways and for many reasons has often happened. Not to, but there is this, when you were talking about like the club,
Right.
and like, are they in the right club? Like there is a, like, why do we go to church? Do we go to church because it's a habit? Do we go to church because it is doing something for us? Do we go to church because we want to be pushed? And it's also interesting because different people have different relationships with God and the church, but still might go to church.
Yeah. It is really interesting too, especially up here in the Northeast, because there isn't the societal expectation that on Sundays you are in church.
Yeah.
And so I almost...
And on Wednesdays you were in church.
And on Wednesdays you were in church. Or in choir rehearsal. And I'll be honest, there's a part of me that likes that because it means the people that are here really want to be here.
Yeah.
And they're really emotionally invested in everything, and it's not performative, and it's like, no, I'm here because it's this is what I want to spend my Sunday morning doing, because it feeds me or challenges me, or I'm in community and I'm with my friend. Like, to me, there's something really beautiful about the fact that you don't have to be here, but you're here anyways.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, we're so glad you're here. You know, I think that's really cool.
And there's so many things about church that makes people go to church, and community is a huge part of it. And just being with people is a huge part of it. And I think a lot of people that I've met feel this like craving for something. I definitely still get the like, I want something, I need to be doing more. At least in this moment, I've definitely, I don't know if,
For sure.
sometimes I preach on things, I'm like, oh, hopefully someone else hopefully someone else identifies with this in some way. But I think that, but I've also met a lot of people who go to church and feel unsafe and feel decentered and feel uncomfortable in the wrong ways.
Yeah.
So it's also finding a church that will accept you for who you are and the journey that you're on, and will be a joyful part of that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Which ideally, in my mind, is what church is supposed to be.
That'd be nice.
That would be nice. Which I think is also why I've stayed here so long. Because I realize how special it is. And there's elements of, you know, real belonging and inclusiveness that has so much potential and so much goodness, you know, at its core. If you hear a buzzing sound, that's the heat that's next door, by the way.
It's not reaching us.
It's not reaching the heat. No, we are a little chilly. So before I become an
I've gotten
organist,
used to it.
have you?
An organoscopal.
Thank you. I really was trying to figure out how to make that work, and it didn't. Popsicle. I'm gonna be a popsicle. I'm an icicle. Organist icicle. Ice. We'll figure it out.
We'll get there. We'll workshop it next week. Next week we'll come back.
Well, Lillian, thank you for this and for the history lesson. I really genuinely found that fascinating.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting to think of how much of it was relatively recent.
Yeah, one of these days we'll get on someone who has a little bit more credentials.
I think it's fine. We're dipping a toe in. We're dipping a toe
Getting
in.
used to it.
I love it. Well, thank you guys all so much for listening as well. Roundhill Radio is brought to you by the friends and members of Roundhill Community Church. For more information, please visit roundhillradio.org.